Welcome to this lesson on what is DNS. So let's get started. Domain name system plays an important role on the internet, and many internet services are very closely related to the DNS. Now, what exactly is DNS? The main functionality of DNS is to translate the easy to remember symbolic names or domain names into IP addresses. So what does it mean? Let's say in your phone, if you want to dial someone, what are the chances of you remembering the mobile number before dialing that person? The chances are very slim. So what you typically do, you save the number, assign it a name, and then while calling that person, you just click on the name. Same is the case with DNS. Let's say you want to go to a website www.oracle.com. Now, you understand www.oracle.com, but computers or the machine, it doesn't understand domain names. All that it understands is an IP address. So think of it like this. It's the mapping of a domain name to an IP address. So that is what is your DNS. So as I mentioned, you can associate domain names with other forms of information. The example that I can think of is typically you associate the human-friendly domain names which are easier to remember to the numerical IP addresses. Now let's have a look at one of the examples. Let's say you are operating a laptop. I've just put in compute instance for the sake of demonstration. In the laptop, you are using browser. And then this compute instance has an operating system. Let's say you want to visit www.example.com. The machine won't know what is www.example.com. So what is it going to do? It is going to query the DNS server. Now what the DNS server is then going to do is, DNS server is then going to reach out to these root servers or dot. And it is going to ask the root servers, what is the IP for www.example.com? This root server is going to return a response and it says ask.com. Now the DNS server is going to ask the top level domain. TLD stands for top level domain. It is going to ask the TLD servers for .com, what is the IP of www.example.com. Now the TLD server is going to tell the DNS server to ask it to example.com. So now the DNS server is going to reach out to customer DNS servers, which is actually authoritative. So there are two types of DNS servers, authoritative and recursive. This one is recursive or non-authoritative. This one is authoritative because this DNS server actually holds the records. So when the DNS server asks the customer DNS servers what is the IP address for www.example.com, in this case, because these servers have the records, they are going to return the answer. For example, this IP address. And then the DNS server is going to return to the browser this. So this IP address is returned, and now you will be able to see the contents of this particular website, which is www.example.com. So this is how this entire flow works. One thing to note here is that the servers that you see on the right, they are authoritative and not recursive, whereas the DNS server in the center is recursive. So what are the capabilities of OCI domain name system? As you can see in the screenshot, I have created a zone. I have created a public zone. The zone type is primary, and you can also see the two records that are associated with the zone. For example, the name server record and the start of authority record. I can go ahead and create and manage my DNS zones. And I can manage the DNS zones that my company owns. And after creating the zone, I can add records to the zone, and I can also allow OCI's edge network to handle my domain's DNS queries. You can also import zone files. This service supports import in standard bind zone data format. The bind file format is the industry preferred zone file format, and it is also supported by Oracle Cloud Infrastructure DNS service. So what are the benefits of OCI public DNS? First of all, it provides consistently lowest query latency performance. The queries are served via Anycast from OCI's global commercial regions. There is a built-in DDoS protection. It's kind of highly resilient against outage and attacks. And it also provides an industry-leading propagation time to ensure fast response to DNS changes. So with that, we wrap up this lesson on DNS. See you in the next lesson.